Hey guys, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to hop on the Beagle. We're going to go to the Galapagos, and we're going to be Charles Darwin, and we're going to write a book. And that book is called On the Origin of Species. On the Origin of Species is a game for 2 to 4 players from Artana and Genius Games. And it plays in about, 60 minutes. And what you're doing in this is you are trying to research different types of insects. They're going to be insects from the land, from the air, from the sea, to be able to discover different and more valuable or more rare, more exotic species on the Galapagos. As you discover more species, you're going to be there longer, you're going to be passing time, and eventually you're going to tap out the Galapagos and the game's going to be over. You're trying to be the most knowledgeable, you're trying to just discover as much stuff as you can to score the most points, because Darwin was all about those points. He loved points. That's enough talking about it. Let's go down to the table. Check it out. Alright, so here's a game of On the Origin of Species, all set up for 2 players. To set up, you're going to lay out Darwin's notebook like this. They're going to be different levels. So this will be level 4. It's marked on the board. There's level 1, 2, and 3. I have the starter cards out, which you can see are signified by the little boat icon right there. So I'm just playing a little beginning game so you can kind of just get the gist. I'm also using these starting tiles for research, and they're going on the board with the appropriate space as well. And then based on the date on these cards, which I'll give you a look at. Oh, I messed up the cubes. It was so pretty. So pretty. So if you look at the bottom of this card, you can see there's a date. That's going to be marked by these anchors. Each date is going to be a scoring. When the Beagle gets there, we're going to have some scoring. And then when the Beagle reaches up here, that's the end of the game. We're also going to be shuffling up the new species that we can discover, and they're going to be like this in descending order, so 4, 3, 2, 1, so on and so forth if they're all out. You're going to shuffle the different kinds of knowledge decks, and you're going to shuffle the Beagle deck and flip 3, and you're going to give each player 8 cubes. Whoever's not first is going to get some kind of bonus, so in this case the second player will be white. They'll start with a point. Alright, so let's go ahead and play. So on your turn, you have one of a couple options. The main options are taking research cubes and putting them on a tile. What that's going to do is that's going to give me knowledge in water and land to be able to be discovering some new species. If you look at a species, this one needs to be discovered by having knowledge in 2 land. So I would need to get 2 cubes on this land tile to be able to discover that tile. These up here, I can't discover at all until I get a map card, which will be in one of these 4 decks somewhere. So, and the second thing you can do is you can discover. So you can pull cubes off of tiles and discover a species. If I was going to discover here, I could pull off tiles here, here, and here to discover that species. So then when you discover the tile, you're going to get some awesome stuff. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and research. You have to put stuff, your cubes on 2 different. So I'm going to go ahead and do green, and I'll do blue. The white player is going to do the same thing, but they're going to come over here to wind and green. Then back to purple. I want to get that 2 green. What else is there? 2 wind and 2 green. Let's do that. So let's go here and here. Back to white. They're going to come here and here. All right, so now I'm going to discover. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take cubes off of a tile or a combination of all these tiles to discover a new species. So I'm going to go ahead and take off these 2 greens. They'll go back into my supply. Now I can discover this tile. It costs 2 green. It gives me 1 point. That's a little turtle marker. And then I'm going to get 1 green card. So I'll take it and flip it. So I have that green card. I have 2 land knowledge for end of game scoring, because you're going to get scored on whoever has the most books, kind of like a set collection deal. And then I'm going to move the Beagle 1. You can see it has the Beagle movement there's either 1 or 2. There might be some 3s, I'm not sure, but I know there's 1 and 2. So I'm going to move the Beagle to the first date right here. Then what I'm going to do is I have to place this tile adjacent to where I just pulled cubes off, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right there. So now we have 2 places that we can get green knowledge. So that was purple's turn. Now we're going on to yellow or white. They have 2 green and a water and a wind. Oh, and I got to get a new tile out, so let's go ahead and put this one out. 2 green, a water, and a wind. So they're going to go ahead and do this one. They're going to take the 2 green, 2 green, and the water. They need 1 green, so they're going to discover this one. They need 1 green and 2 of anything. So I took 2 green and the water, so there we go. And then we're going to go here. They're going to get 1 point. And a green card. So they're kind of the same deal as the other player. Ooh, they got some green knowledge as well. Move the Beagle 1, so Beagle's at 915. And we'll flip that because that's be adjacent to one of those two, to those 2, and we're going to go right there. All right, and they're going to grab this 3 tile. So they're taking a 3, so that means all of these will slide down, and the 3 will go up here at the top, right like that. All right, I'm going to try to show you something else here before I'm done. All right, so back to purple. I'm going to go ahead and do some green. There's a lot of green out here. Just do some green. All right, then white will do the same thing because they don't have any cards to play yet. So they'll go 1 here on water, 1 here on wind. Purple, they have 2 green, a water, and a wind. 2 green, a water, and a wind. You know, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to discover this one. So that'll take a water. Ooh, I don't know if I can, actually. Nope, I don't think I can do that yet. Nope. So I'm just going to go ahead and discover again. I'll go here and research here. White has 2 water and 2 wind and a water, which doesn't do anything. So they want to go here and here. All right, now I'm going to try to discover this one. So I need 2 wind and 2 I'm white. 2 wind and 2 green. So here's 2 wind and here's 2 green, 2 land. Then I'm discovering this one. So I have 2 points. 2 points. I'm going to get either a yellow or a green card. I'm going to go ahead and take a yellow. So I have some air knowledge. I'm going to get a Beagle card. I can take any of these, which I will do. Or I can take one from the face down deck. I'm just collecting books. I like collecting books. And then I'm going to move the Beagle 1. Which way is he going to go? 916. Now, this is a level 2. I can tell by its 2 points and 2 symbols on this side. What I want to do is I'm going to replace a tile. So what happens there is I'm going to replace this tile. So that's going to give white player 2 points because they had 2 cubes. And then I'm going to take this tile because it's a level 1. Oh, it's a starter. Dang it. Never mind. Just kidding. So I am still going to replace. So this is going to slide this tile over. This tile is going to come down here into this space. If you replace a non-starting tile, so say I replace this one, I would take the tile, put it over here next to me, and it'll be worth 1 point at the end of the game. So that's how that kind of works. That's what I did there. I replaced that tile. The starting tiles never leave the board. They just move around to an empty space. If there's not an empty space, you can't move it around. Makes sense. All right, so say we went ahead and we did some more moving, and we ended on this first anchor. And white player did that. What happens here is whoever does this is going to trigger this event. So in these 3 cards, basically whoever moves the boat, the Beagle, to the anchor gets those points. So we'll say white gets that point. Then the anchor will just go away and we're right there. We can flip that down so we know that we've done it. We're going to keep going like this until we have discovered as many species as we can and the Beagle has landed up here. You're going to score all these points. You're going to score any tiles that you have, and whoever has the most points is the winner. A couple things to note. a level 4 tile doesn't get research. So if I discovered this level 4 tile and put it out here, there's nothing to research because you can't get higher than a level 4 unless you have a card here that's called a scalpel, which will make it so you can make another level 4, level 5 to actually be able to replace this. So kind of like that. And let me show you another important thing. There's a map card in at least the Beagle deck. There might be one in some other decks. Without a map, once you get a map card, it's going to stay up in front of you, kind of like I don't know if these stay in front of you, but it's going to stay face up in front of you. And it's going to let you discover species that are in these 3 spots here. Without a map, you can never discover these. You're going to have to wait for them to slide down. So maps are important. Digging through these decks is pretty important. It's going to give you special abilities that you can use, like all these guys. One time a special ability that is going to help you move around. It's going to give you some extra research like this. I'm going to get those 3 icons without having to have cubes on stuff, which is really nice. So just another way to get some things. So that's kind of how you play On the Origin of Species. Let's go up to the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was On the Origin of Species. And first off, I want to talk about how gorgeous this board is. I mean, I haven't seen a board that's looked this good in a long time. This board is gorgeous. I mean, I don't know how well it came through in the video, but look at this thing. This thing is amazingly beautiful. It has great art. It even has a cool picture of Darwin and a map on the back. Didn't need to have that, but that's awesome. I mean, those colors just pop. It is amazing. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about these little sea turtle tokens. Oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. Oh, man. Yeah, the art and production on this is top notch. I mean, there aren't many games that have a better board than that. That board looks amazing. Everything's housed on the board. The only pieces that aren't on the board literally are these tiles and these cubes. That's it. Everything else is on the board, which is pretty amazing. Let's talk about the gameplay. So as you can see in the overview, this is a pretty straightforward game. You're either going to be putting cubes on some tiles, or you're going to be removing cubes to discover a tile, score some stuff, get some cards, and put a tile on the board. The tricky thing here is when you're discovering, you have to take cubes off of tiles that are adjacent to where you're going to be discovering, because the animals kind of, work together. They form like ecosystems and all that stuff. So you can't just willy-nilly pull cubes off of wherever. It's got to be from where you're going to be discovering. So that puts a little bit of thinkiness in there. Like, maybe I want to just discover this. I have all the stuff, but I can't use that tile over there because it's not adjacent to what's going out. So that's tricky. I love set collection. So this book thing, there's all different color books in all 4 of the decks. Oh man, that's my favorite part of the game. I love collecting stuff, trying to have the most books or have more things than somebody else. I love that. So fun, so satisfying, and it's always fun to dig through some decks and see what you can get. I just really like it. I'm not going to talk about this game too much. You saw what it did. You saw what it can do. I played the basic first game version just so you could kind of see how it works, but there's 4 or 5 or 6 different levels of the 4 levels of Darwin's Journal that you can just shuffle and put out there for a whole bunch of different variety on how you're going to score those mid-game scorings. The in-game tile card is all different. There's some advanced scoring modules where you can give each player a secret goal and you're trying to do some set collection to score a bunch of different points. So there's even a family version where you can get rid of the cards completely and just do the research and discover and just see who can get the most points that way. Makes it even less strategy, just more of a family game. So there's tons of ways to play this game, tons of replayability, and it's gorgeous to look at, and it kind of makes you feel smarter. I mean, you're learning about different species on the Galapagos, Darwin, a book, beagles, dogs. I guess the beagle's a boat, not a dog, but you get my point. You get my drift. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a BGM accepted seal. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 from me on BGG, which is a 4.5. Do math. A 4 out of 5 wrenches on an arbitrary wrench scale. That means absolutely nothing, but we like to give it the games that we enjoy, and this is definitely a game that we enjoy, and we're going to be keeping. So that was On the Origin of Species by Artana and Genius Games. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.